Okay, what we're going to be looking at is Green Beret by Ho Thien. Apologies if I haven't said that right. And your task today is to, first of all, find definitions for guerrilla and mercenary in regards to warfare. Write those on the poem. Research the Vietnam War. You can look that up on YouTube as well. Who is it between? Where did the fighting take place? Make notes on that. And then you need to read the poem. How is the boy presented? Annotating your ideas. And then how is the soldier presented? So what I'm going to do with you are questions 3 and 4, and then we're going to think about who the reader is meant to sympathise with. I'm going to show you how to structure a response to that. So I'm not going to read the poem through with you because you can do that in your own time. But the first thing I'm going to do is look at the boy. Okay, so I'm going to highlight everything to do with the boy in yellow, and I'm going to make some annotations on the side. So copy down what I do, put it into your own words. Remember, you can pause the video any time. So he was 12 years old, do not know his name. So at this point, I'm going to make a note here about that he is anonymous. And that he's almost so unimportant that he doesn't need a name, but it also could link to the fact, you know, how many there were like him. It also is vague because it can be applied to numerous situations, so it could be relatable to many children, many people reading it. The mercenaries took him and his father. I'm just going to highlight that verb took, because this verb implies that he was snatched, really, that he was almost abducted, that he was forced away, and his father, whose name I do not know. Look down on the frail boy. Okay, so here I'm going to highlight this. Now, if boy is a noun, this is going to be an adjective. So frail means weak, so this could show hunger, it could show poverty, it could show fear, lots of things, but it also has some juxtaposition, so two opposite ideas or words that have jumped apart, they're not together. So we've got some juxtaposition here between the mercenary and the boy, this little and large, this powerful versus weak. Eyes of a hurt animal. Okay, with eyes of a hurt animal. Now, obviously, he doesn't actually have those eyes, so it's a metaphor. And importantly, that adjective hurt is really important because physically they haven't mentioned any violence yet, but emotionally he has been damaged, that he is sad, that he is concerned. Okay, and a good fright will make him talk. Again, I'm going to highlight this verb here because again it's that forceful idea. He commanded, father is taken away. Right, kid, tell us where they are, tell us where, or your father dead. With eyes now bright and filled with terror. So here, if something's bright, we assume that it's going to be happy, yet it's terror. So we've got these two opposites here again. There are words in between, so they've jumped apart, so we've got this juxtaposition here as well. Also, it's different, it's the opposite to how he was before. So this threat has changed him. Slight, if we think about what that might mean in terms of how you appear, slight would link again to this idea of frail. So he is thin, he's weak. The boy said nothing. So here you could say that saying nothing could be a sign of bravery. It could also be a sign of fear. You've got 1 minute, kid, said Green Beret. Tell us where or we kill father. And thrust his wristwatch against a face, all eyes. Now obviously his face isn't all eyes, so this is another metaphor. So this is what is so startling and recognizable about the boy, is his eyes. So you can think about why that might be. I'll just highlight that as well. Okay, boy, 10 seconds. In the last instant, silver hand shattered the sky and forest of the trees. Kill the old guy. Boy cried out. So here I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to talk about this verb, cried. Again, we've got this feeling of sadness, this feeling of perhaps loneliness and fear. As the boy crouched down and shook with tears. So here he again is perceived as small and weak, and there that verb shook tells us just how powerful his tears are. He is overcome with emotion here, as children do when their father dies. So he didn't know a damn thing. We killed the old guy for nothing. So here the boy is presented as almost clueless and unimportant again. They went away, Green Beret and his mercenaries. The boy knew everything. So here he could be perceived as intelligent, as brave and courageous. So that's another idea to think about there. I'm just going to highlight that as well. He knew everything about them, the caves. So here, although it's not really obvious, this list has been used to display just how much knowledge the boy has. So that's really important to think about. Okay, and again we've got cried out, and so we've got these emotions of sadness coming out again. So sadness, again, he cried out. So you could think about that preposition out, which is the direction where he's going. So it's kind of maybe a symbol of anger with how he feels. And here we've got protected and frail, and those are a juxtaposition as well, because those are two opposites, the idea of weakness versus strength. And we have that obvious repetition here with frail. It's consistently repeated. But obviously then it's followed by stronger. So we've got some more juxtaposition there. Than any wall of steel. They passed everywhere like tigers. So here we've got his tears passing everywhere like tigers. That's simile, but we've got lots of little moments within this to do with the boy. So we've annotated that. So we've done question 3. Question 4 then, the soldier. And there are a few soldiers within this, so I'll be picking out the ones that you need to focus on. So I'm going to highlight the soldier in green. So Green Beret is the soldier here. Green. Look down on the frail boy. So here I'm going to highlight this preposition here down, because it suggests that he is his superior, that he feels he is above the boy, that he is more important, more powerful, and that could be physically, emotionally, and thought a good fright will make him talk. Now here, fright is usually negative, good is obviously the opposite, and it hasn't jumped apart, so it's not juxtaposition. This is an oxymoron, where two opposites are next to one another. And here, this could show that he has delight in tormenting. It could show him as quite evil or quite mean-spirited. Here, commanded, it's a verb, and so this shows that he has power and control, that he is a leader, and is again that kind of forceful nature. Tell us where they are, tell us where all your father dead. Okay, and here just to reinforce the idea of the commanding, he uses tell, okay, that imperative where it's a straightforward action, there's no doubt about it. You've got 1 minute kid. Here he's using the word kid, which reinforces the age, which is quite disturbing in that he's forcing a child rather than an adult. He's commanding a child, so he is well aware of that. But also he refers to us and we, and so here you could say that by using collective nouns, we, us, collective nouns and pronouns, he is sharing the responsibility. He is not acting alone. And you could say that maybe he doesn't want the guilt or sole responsibility for this action. So that's interesting to think about. Thrust his wristwatch against a face or eyes. So here he slaps the boy. So this action thrust, again we've got this little mention of violence here. Okay boy, 10 seconds to tell us where they are. Last instant the silver hand shattered the sky in the forest of trees. Here he says roar, and this obvious choice of verb here likens him to an animal. Weirdly enough, a lion or a tiger, which is perceived as powerful but also quite threatening, a predator, which is another way of thinking about it. Soldiers stood in silence, so this would include him, and you could say on the one hand the silence could suggest that they feel remorseful, that they feel maybe some regret and show respect, but on the other hand it could show that they feel nothing, that they are unsympathetic. You could go further with that, thinking about how many people they have had to kill. Maybe they've become desensitized, so that's where you're so used to something, desensitized, because you've had to repeat it a lot. So that's way to think about it. And then it singles him out. So the soldiers stand in silence, and then the Green Beret stood in silence. So it singles him out. And that is maybe because he is the most recognizable, maybe he's the leader. Christ said one mercenary to Green Beret, he didn't do a damn thing, we killed the old guy for nothing. So they all went away, Green Beret and his mercenaries. I'm going to highlight his, because this possessive pronoun suggests that he owns them. So we've got some ideas there about the Green Beret, so we've completed question 4. So now we're going to think about this one. Who do you think the reader is meant to sympathise with, the boy or the soldier? Write your response in your book and give a reason. So I'm going to make a little table down here on who we should feel sympathetic for. So should we feel sympathy for the boy or for the Green Beret? And it might seem really obvious to only feel sympathetic for the boy. However, I'm going to show you some ideas for the Green Beret as well. So the boy we feel sympathy for because he has lost his father, because he is alone, because he is sad, because he is weak, and because obviously he's having to be brave. On the other hand, we could feel sympathetic for the Green Beret because he is a soldier in war, because he is having to kill people. He will be following orders as well, because he is desensitized. So remember, that was where he has done something so much he doesn't feel anything for it anymore. But obviously there are reasons that we don't sympathise with him, because obviously he killed the boy's father, and because of the violence that he shows. So ideas there. What you would need to do is to then go through and find quotations to support this. So for example, for lost his father, I would say the part where it says, tell us where your father dead, or we kill father. Let's say that actually, we kill father. So I would put that there, and I would think about, okay, well, this shows that the reader feels sympathy for him because he's being threatened, because he is about to lose his father, and because he's going to have to be present when it happens. So that's the kind of thing that you would do for the other points. I've given you the points here, you just need to find the quotes, which will mostly be the ones we've highlighted. What you would then do is try and write a paragraph about it. So I'm going to give you the bare bones of this. So you could say the reader, or a reader, would feel sympathetic towards, and here I'm just going to leave a gap for you to add in whoever you think they would feel sympathy towards, because, so an example would be, the reader would feel sympathetic towards the boy because he has lost his father. That would be an example there. You would then go on to include a quotation, so you would say something like, this can be supported by the quote, but instead I'm going to phrase it as, this is reinforced where it states, and then you would put your quote. So for my example, I'm going to say, or we kill father. What you would then do is pick out a particular word. So you would say the word, or it would be phrase or device. So in this case, I'm going to pick out kill. And I can make that better actually, because I'm going to say verb. The verb kill reminds us that the boy is being threatened by the soldiers. Then I would go on to talk about the reader and the writer again. So the readers would be shocked at the violence being suggested here by the soldiers and feel sorry for the boy. The writer, so we know the writer's name, so if you wanted to use it, you'd use the N. Remember, capital letter, is intending to shock the readers into seeing this interaction through the boy's eyes to heighten the effect, to heighten the emotional effect, let's say. So a very, very simple paragraph, but remember, you would have your point, your evidence. I then go on to say your analysis, so that's where you pick out your terminology, your keywords, talk about what that might suggest. You would talk about the reader and the writer. Okay, so I've given you some ideas there. So remember, you can go back through this video, pausing and writing down what I have talked about. Have a look again at this part, as it might help you lay out your ideas. It would be great if you could have a little try at writing a paragraph. Now obviously, if you were writing a paragraph, you would put it all together just like this, instead of leaving it all separate. So I hope this has helped. Please feel free to get in touch if you need any more help, but apart from that, good luck and have a nice day. Bye bye.